Mhm. See.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Ms. Bridgewater, when is the SAP reset date?
Valentine's Day, February the 14th.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow.
Afternoon. How are you this afternoon?
We're going to start with position 20, Mr. Washington.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Judge, just wanted to.
Mr. Howard, good afternoon. Good to see
Good
you.
afternoon, Judge. Zachary Judge is a newer attorney with the office. Just wanted to introduce you to him today. He'll be assisting Ms. Kim with the calendar.
Oh, very good. Good afternoon, Mr. Zachary.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good to have you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Washington. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Washington, you've been charged in case 23CR000637Y with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Third arrest. Last arrest was 2021 for robbery. It was dismissed. 2020 failed to appear for simple battery. And he has a hold out of Clayton County.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Lewis.
Good afternoon, Judge. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Okay, so this incident occurred January 30th at 500 Northside Circle. Officers responded to this location on a dispute call. The caller stated that a male had kicked her in the face. When officers arrived, they noticed blood on the sidewalk and on the porch of the apartment and also heard loud yelling from inside the apartment. When they finally made contact with one of the occupants, they met with Ms. Cinnamon Belser. Cinnamon is a common spelling. Belser is B-E-L-S-E-R. Initially, Belser stated she did not want to speak with police, and she stated that she lied on the actual call. Belser stated that her and Washington, who are roommates, were in an argument because she does not feel appreciated. And during that argument, she stated that she slammed the door, it came off the wall and struck her in the face, which is a stark contradiction to what was in the call stating that a male kicked her in the face. Because of the presence of the blood, the physical injury, the yelling, and the initial 911 call, officers detained Washington. For this reason, Your Honor, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, to stay away from that location, and no further contact with the victim. Nothing further.
Hey, Ms. Kim, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mr. Washington is 23 years old, and he is gainfully employed at UPS. He's been working as a full-time associate there for the last 3 years, going for 4 years. He successfully graduated from high school. He has not been any trouble ever since that case was dismissed. And Your Honor, he has been very good citizen lately. And we would like to request for a signature on bond so he can move on and take care of his case at Clayton County. He's not a flight risk, obviously, because he has to go to Clayton County. He's not running away from anywhere. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. Thank you.
Does he need to go to that Northside Circle address or anything?
Just one time, Your Honor, for personal belonging, and he is okay with a stay away and no further contact, Your Honor.
Okay, $3,000 signature bond through the jail, no further contact with Ms. Belser, stay away from the North Side Circle address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Washington.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I apologize. Thank
Your
you.
Honor, can we go to Alpharetta Jail?
We can. Who do we have at the Alpharetta Jail?
Your Honor, actually, we do have to interview the Alpharetta Jail. I guess Mr. Judd has to still interview. Can he have a breakout room to interview the inmate there?
Okay, do you need to interview Judd? I don't know how many we have in Alpharetta today. Do you all need to interview everybody at Alpharetta or just,
I think it's just one, Your Honor.
Yes, we
Okay,
only have
all
one,
right.
Judge.
So let's put Mr. Zachary and the Alpharetta Jail into a breakout room. And we will continue, I guess, in courtroom 2 until they return.
Is Mr. Judd, is Joe Johnson your client?
Yes, that's his client.
I thought he
Joe
was-
Johnson was a conflict.
He's a conflict.
Oh, that's right, conflict. I apologize.
Yes, that's Miss Maureen McLeod.
Okay, so I guess we can take him next. I saw Ms. McLeod on.
That's correct, Your Honor. We're gonna go to position number 9, Mr. Johnson.
Okay. Let's see, are you with me? Oh, there you go. Good afternoon, Ms. McLeod.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 0000644F with battery. Can we go ahead and put Mr. Zachary in the Alpharetta Jail? And thank you. Is there a history?
7 total, 2019 simple battery. Possession of cocaine, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Case number 19 SC 169318. It appears to be open. 2016 theft by conversion. That appears to be open. 2015 suspended license. 2015 failure to appear for suspended license. He got a hold out of McDonald's. And I see an 08 arrest out of Michigan for assault, excluding sexual. That's it.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Rogers.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. The facts are on January the 30th of 2023, officers were dispatched to 3200 Lenox Road Northeast in reference to a dispute. When they arrived, they came in contact with Mr. Joe Johnson. He stated that his sister and victim, Janine Johnson, first name Janeen, last name Johnson, common spelling. They had a verbal argument. Apparently, they were enjoying some alcoholic beverages, and Mr. Johnson was attempting to leave in his car. And Miss Johnson, she occupied his keys and would not let him get his keys. A physical dispute broke out, and she suffered a scratches to her face and neck area. We're asking for a $3,000 surety bond, a stay away order from that address, and no further contact with the victim, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 36 years old. He is the father of 2 children. One is 14, the other is 18 and about to graduate from high school. And they live with him at the address, Your Honor. He denies that he actually struck his sister. He does say that they had an argument, but he denies that he got physically involved with her at all. He tells me, Your Honor, that he's not afraid of his sister. She came down from, I believe he said, Michigan recently and has been staying with him. And they just had a sibling argument. And that is how he views it, Your Honor. I would ask the court to give my client a signature bond so he can get out of jail. And he would like no further violent contact with his sister. He's quite okay with them continuing to live together, Your Honor. Nothing further.
Have you spoken with Ms. Janine Johnson?
She was also locked up, Your Honor. They were both arrested.
Oh, okay.
It's a dual arrest situation.
So she's not on the has she already been on the calendar or?
She's actually, she's been prosecuted by a DA's office, Your Honor.
Okay.
Let me go see
And
what the conditions are, Judge. I'll be right back.
All right. At this time, it's going to be a no further contact with Ms. Janine Johnson until you speak with her, Ms. McLeod. I'm going to allow him to go back to his home though, since she's not the one who's actually living there. So it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact at this time with Janine Johnson, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Next, Your Honor, we have position number 19, Mr. Brian Ward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ward. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you need to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Ward, you've been charged in case 23 CR 000636C with fleeing or attempted to elude a police officer, driving on an expired license or no decal, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and reckless driving. I'm not sure if Mr. Howard's back or not.
Yeah, I'm back. Who we on?
19, Mr. Ward.
Brian.
While we're waiting, Mr. Baring, the jail presents cases to me. I'm not sure what number your client is in order. I see your message there. The jail can also see your message regarding your client, and he will be up in turn, I anticipate.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Mr. Howard?
33 total.
Okay.
Last arrest was 2020, simple battery DV, criminal trespass. Trespass was dismissed, simple battery was dismissed, but he was convicted for disorderly conduct. 2020 suspended license, suspended registration. 2019 possession of cocaine with intent, possession of a controlled substance. 2017 driving without a valid license. 2012 suspended license, unlawful for a person to possess alcohol. Controlled substance. That was a conviction. 2008 FTA for battery, simple battery. So it's been about 16 years since he was arrested for violence. That's about it, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Who is presenting for the state? Anyone on for the state?
19, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Rogers.
That's Ms. Kim's case, Your Honor.
Yes, I'm here, but I'm.
Yes, I'm asking for the state though.
It should be Miss Lewis, if she's on.
One moment, Your Honor. I did not have that case. Give me one moment.
Okay.
Good add on.
Your Honor, do you mind if we circle back to that case? Because it was not my case, but I'm gonna grab the facts really quick.
Okay, you go ahead and do that, and I'll just wait for you because we've already
Okay.
gone through the initial, and I'd just rather give you a moment to get that for the court. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, why don't we go to courtroom 3, and so that we don't have to move, Mr. Ward. Who do we have in courtroom 3?
Position number 2, Judge. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mr. Rogers, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. Position number 2 is actually co-defendants with position number 1.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and take position number 2 then. Good afternoon, Ms. Beering. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 0000639A with battery family violence. Is there a history? Oh, well, I have that as the first arrest from pretrial. I also have on position 1, Ms. Cardell Barron, that is her first arrest also. Was this a dual, I take it this was a dual arrest, Mr. Rogers?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and who's representing Ms. Harjay Baring?
I am, Your Honor.
And who's representing Cardell Baring?
I am, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Fortis.
It's good to see you.
You also. Okay, let's go ahead with Ms. Zarjay Baring, Mr. Rogers.
On January the 29th of 2023, officers were dispatched to 311 Scott Street, Southwest in Atlanta in reference to a dispute. When they arrived, they made contact with both parties, Mr. Cordell Baring and Miss Baring, first name ZSARJE. Mr. Baring reported that Miss Baring arrived from home and she noticed that the kids had not completed their chores. She got frustrated. An argument ensued. He started to gather his belongings and leave the residence. She, in an attempt to prevent him from leaving the residence, a physical altercation broke out. Mr. Baring was bit during the altercation by Miss Baring. He had a bite mark on his right arm. And the altercation continued when Mr. Baring went outside, and another physical altercation occurred. And again, Miss Baring did strike Mr. Baring. Those are the facts, Your Honor. We are asking for a $3,000 surety bond, a stay away order, and no further contact.
Are they husband and wife?
Yes.
They are, Your Honor.
Yes, they are.
And is Mr. Cardell Baring, is he in courtroom 2?
Yes, Your Honor, he's coming up now.
Okay, thank you. I'll just handle these both at the same time then. So go ahead, Ms. McLeod.
Your Honor, my client is 34 years old. She shares 4 children with Mr. Baring. They have been married for 13 years, Your Honor. They have a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 3-month-old, a 3-year-old, and she also tells me that she is pregnant. So they are about to have 5 children together and have been married for 13 years. She tells me they got into an argument, and essentially that was it. They were going, our mom was there at the time. They had an argument. She tells me that she has to co-parent with him and she's not afraid of him. It's not like they have these kinds of situations frequently. My client has an associate's degree. She works as a social worker. And as I said, she has these 4 children that she is co-parenting with Mr. Baring. She prefers no further violent contact, Your Honor. Since this is her first arrest, I would ask the court to give her a signature bond so she can get back home and get back to her job and to taking care of the children. Nothing further.
Okay, Mr. Fortis.
Yes, Judge. Well, by the rendition of the facts, it surprises me why Mr. Bering was arrested at all. But what we're looking for, obviously, in this case, Judge, is a UJR for Mr. Bering. We're going to go ahead and ask the court for no contact. We're going to ask that my client get one trip to the residence with an officer to pick up his belongings. As far as Miss Bering goes, I've spoken with my client's employer over at Midtown Bowl, which is at 1936 Piedmont Circle Northeast. We'd like to stay away for Miss Bering on there. They don't want her coming up there. They don't know enough of the facts, but they don't want this to spill over into his employment, but he will remain employed with the company. So again, that would be a stay away for her from his place of employment at 1936 Piedmont Circle Northeast in Atlanta, 30324. So we are asking for no contact and exchange the children through a third party.
Okay. And again, well, for the first time, Mr. Bering, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. You also have been charged with battery family violence. So for Cardell Bering, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Zara J. Bering, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. He can go back to the residence on one of the residence of 311 Scott Street on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. He's to have third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. For Zari Bering, it's also going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact at this time with Cardell Bering, stay away from his place of employment of 1936 Piedmont Circle, third party transfer of the children also, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Did I cover everything, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good luck to you both, Mr. Bering and Ms. Bering.
Thank you, Judge. That concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good day. We'll see you next time. Good to see you.
See you soon,
I'm
Judge.
sorry, Judge. Was her signature bond through a pretrial or the jail?
They were both through pretrial.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, so let's see.
I have position number 17.
Okay, we were in the middle of
19, Mr. Ward.
position 19. Are we ready? Let me go to position 19 since we were in the middle of that, and then I'll come back to you in courtroom 3. Ms. Lewis, are we ready on position 19, Mr. Ward?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can continue.
Okay. This incident occurred on January 26th. Officers were conducting a traffic stop for expired tags. Once they were able to pull the vehicle over, the vehicle stopped at 2959, which is Campbellton Road, the Chevron gas station. And the officers were able to tell the driver the reason for the stop. There were 2 officers involved in that incident. One of the officers asked for Mr. Ward's driver's license and went back to the car to run his tags, while the other officer remained at the vehicle and could detect a strong smell of marijuana coming from the vehicle. Officer Samba, who is the other officer, asked Mr. Ward if there was marijuana in the car, to which point Mr. Ward got upset and accelerated and fled the traffic stop, which put Officer Ward in danger. For this reason, Your Honor, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond. That's $500 for each count, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
Yes, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Mr. Ward is 50 years old and he is married and his wife does not work. So he is a sole provider for him and his wife. They do not have any children. He works as a lawn service maintenance person, and he has been, he has not had any kind of driving violence before. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request maximum $1,000 total, $250 for each charge. Thank you.
Okay, it's gonna be a $250 for each charge, which is $1,000 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Ward.
Thank you very much.
All right, can we go to the Alpharetta jail now and do I'm not sure who this is, but are we ready, Alpharetta jail?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Lacey Lassiter.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lassiter. She's position number 15. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 000634E with simple battery against a person who is 65 years or older or who is pregnant at the time of the offense and battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
6 total. Last arrest was back in June. Probation. 2016, failure to appear. 2014, suspended license. She had an ag assault that was transferred to state court back in 03. And a 06 arrest out of Oklahoma. Failure to report child abuse. That's it.
And Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 30th at 5335 Bentley Hall in Johns Creek. Officers responded to this location where they met with Mr. Stephen Friedman, who is 66. Freeman stated that Lassiter pushed him to the ground and kicked him in the back. And then officers did observe some red markings on his back. And he also suffers from MS. The court would like to note that. Your Honor, for this reason, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond. That's $1,000 for each count. No further contact with Mr. Friedman. Stay away from this address. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1 day of anger awareness. Nothing further.
Mr. Zachary?
Yes, Your Honor. Zachary Judd with the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Lacey Lassiter. Your Honor, Miss Lassiter, excuse me, she is 38 years old. She's lived in Georgia for majority of her life, for 26 years. Your Honor, she joined the Army in 2003. She did a tour in Iraq from 2008 to 2009. She was honorably discharged in 2013, having served just about 10 years in the Army. Your Honor, she does maintain that this case was one of self-defense, that Mr. Friedman was actually coming at her with a baseball bat, that she was protecting herself, which she has the right to do, Your Honor. We are asking that she be considered for a signature bond. She does not need to go back to that address. In fact, she's already spoken with one of her friends and is able to live at somewhere other than that address. So she does understand if there is a no contact order. I simply ask that she do be allowed a visit along with the county sheriff's department to pick up any belongings or valuables from that house that belong to her. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. It's going to be a $2,500 signature bond through the jail on each count, which is a total of a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the incident location. She can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that she might have there. No further contact with Stephen Freeman, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Lassiter.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Can we go back to courtroom 3? Would you all like to go back to courtroom 3?
Yes, Judge, please. Position number 17.
Okay. And this is Ms. Sutherland. Good afternoon, Ms. Sutherland. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is Good afternoon, ma'am. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Sutherland, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000635Y with driving on the wrong side of the road and reckless driving. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
You got 8 total. 2012 battery dismissed, 2017 fraud. That was dismissed. 2019 battery trespass. It was amended to simple battery. That was a conviction. Trespass was dismissed. Last arrest was back in March in Cobb County, disorderly conduct. That's open. She also got history out of Illinois. Last arrest there was in the early 2000s.
Okay. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on March 18, 2022. Officers responded to a multi-car collision which occurred in the westbound lanes of I-285, approximately a half mile before the Jonesboro Road exit. The officer's investigation revealed that Sutherland was traveling the wrong way, eastbound on the westbound lanes of I-285 when she collided head-on with vehicle 2. Sutherland's vehicle spun approximately 180 degrees as a result, and when her vehicle came to a stop, she was struck by a third vehicle, which we'll call vehicle 3. When vehicle 3 pushed Ms. Sutherland's car into the rear side of the road, a fourth vehicle came attempting to avoid the collisions, but also collided. Your Honor, for these reasons, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond. That's $500 on each count, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
It's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each count, makes it a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is that okay with you, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Good luck to you, Ms. Sutherland.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 16, Mr. Tyson Stevens. But also I see that Tucson pretrial put Washington as a waiver. Washington isn't a waiver, it's actually Williams that's the waiver.
I didn't put nothing in nothing. What are you talking about?
Washington was the first person we did. No, I'm sorry, I meant to say Kim. I'm sorry.
I apologize.
Yeah,
Y'all get
Okay.
together.
thank you.
So we've got 2 waivers, and is this Mr. Stevens?
This is Mr. Stevens, yes. It's actually
Okay.
3 waivers, Your Honor. It was just the
Okay.
wrong name up there.
Okay, so the waivers, tell me the waivers again.
It's gonna be Pat Thornton and Ricky Williams.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Stevens, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Stevens, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000652E with theft by taking, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and theft of lost or mislaid property. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest. Last arrest was 2021 out of Mississippi. Simple domestic violence. That was a conviction.
Okay, Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 30th at 100 Decatur Street. On arrival, officers responded to a larceny call and spoke with Georgia State University student Lauren Gale. Gale stated that she saw the man who stole her student ID, and she stated that Stevens asked to borrow her ID to gain access to the building, and upon doing so, he ran off and did not come back. Officers were able to approach Stevens, but he ran away. And once they detained him, they found the student ID of Talia Johnson, that's spelled T-A-L-E-A-H, and also the Colorado driver's license of Chantel Skirles, and that's S-C-U-R-L-E-S. Your Honor, for this reason, the state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond that is $500 each count. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and to stay away from this location. Nothing further.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Stephen is 22 years old and he is currently self-employed as a YouTube influencer. He has his own channel and he was working at Georgia State University to film. And actually, he's the one who asked the lady to let him borrow the ID and she consented. And he wanted to return, but it didn't happen fast enough. He was misunderstood as a theft. However, he denies the allegation. He also worked at First Staffing as a warehouse before becoming YouTube influencer. He worked at Skyline and he is currently also pursuing computer science associate degree at Augusta Tech. He, of course, successfully graduated from high school, and he's not qualified for public defender's service because he is making a good income. Your Honor, he had about 4 months ago, he had a car accident. So he does have a nerve damage and he needs to have medical attention very, very fast. So we would like to request for a signature on bond so he can take care of his medical issues. Thank you.
All right, it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each charge, which makes it a total of a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck, Mr. Stevens.
Your Honor, what was that bond amount again? I apologize.
You're fine. It's $1,500 total signature through the jail, 500 on each charge.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, I apologize again. We also have another waiver, which is going to be Ms. Fluker.
Okay. Let's see, that
She's
is,
coming from PD Judge.
okay, so that's position number 7.
Yes.
Okay. And you all will need to get all these waivers in to Ms. Bridgewater so that she has them.
Rose, come on, come on. Okay, sir. And this is position number 15.
Okay.
Rose.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rhodes. Judge Eric Mora. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000651A with driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, improper erratic lane change, and possession of an open alcohol container. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
32 total. Yeah, open case in Cobb. Well, let me give you, the last arrest was in September for a suspended license. He got an August obstruction out of Cobb. August suspended license, Smyrna. 2021 DUI, it just says bind over out of Marietta. Another 2021 arrest, possession of drug-related objects, possession of dangerous drugs. 2019 possession of dangerous drugs, possession of drug-related objects. Shoplifting 2013 conviction. He had a 07 DUI that was dismissed. And he had a DUI from 03 that was a conviction. That's it.
Hey, Ms. Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 30th at January 30th, 2023. On the date in question, an officer was temporarily parked in an emergency lane with his emergency lights activated. The officer observed a pickup truck approaching from behind at a very high rate of speed. The officer observed the driver partially in the emergency lane as well as another lane. And as the vehicle got closer, the officer noticed that the driver was not going to stop. So the driver had to quickly drive his car out of harm's way to avoid being struck from behind. The truck continued past the officer without stopping and still partially in both the emergency lane and the other lane. The officer was able to catch up with the driver and pull him over. As the officer approached the vehicle, he could smell a strong odor of alcohol on Mr. Rhodes' breath. And then the officer asked Mr. Rhodes to step out the vehicle. The officer was able to see an open bottle of wine partially underneath the driver's seat. And then the officer asked Rhodes if he had been drinking, and Rhodes stated that he'd only had one beer 4 hours ago. At this point, the officer conducted a series of field sobriety tests, which Rhodes failed to properly complete. Rhodes was detained, and after an inventory of his vehicle was completed, the officer found 2 empty Mangarito cans and an empty Four Loko can. Your Honor, for this reason, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond. That's $1,000 for count 1 and $500 for both count 2 and count 3. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and that's all, Your Honor, nothing further.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Rhodes is 56 years old, and he has been in Georgia for all his life. And Your Honor, he is currently married, and he has 4 children, and 3 of them are all over 18 years old. However, he is currently under disability. He works at Bill 3 Care Services as a supervisor role. He's been working there for about 20 years, and his wife is also working at accounting firm. However, his wife is also receiving Social Security income. We would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for a split bond, maybe DUI, maximum $1,000 good bond, and driving improper lane and driving possession of open alcohol container as a signature on bond through jail. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so I'm going to accept the state's recommendation. The state recommended $1,000 good bond for the DUI, $500 good bonds for each of the other charges, so a total of a $2,000 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and no driving without a valid driver's license, which was added on by the court. Good luck to you, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next on, we have position number 14, Mr. Brian Rael.
Good afternoon, Your Honor, and the court.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rail. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rail, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0006508 with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yes, 32 total between Georgia and Florida. Last arrest 2014, suspended license. 2014, forgery in the first, felony theft by taking. Got a 2012 false report of a crime conviction. 2012 battery DV arrest. I'm not sure of the disposition. Got a simple battery that was dismissed from 07. The last arrest in Florida looks like 2012 disorderly conduct, intoxication. That was a conviction. And before that was 2011 battery DV, touch or strike. That was non-process. Another 2011 arrest for battery that was dismissed. 2010 battery dismissed. 2009 battery dismissed. 2007 battery DV, failure to appear, arrest. That's it.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 30th at 2248 Rugby Avenue in College Park. Officers responded to a fight and disorder call at this location and met with Mr. Donald Edmondson. Edmondson states that he and Mr. Rail have been in a relationship for the last 18 years and got into a verbal argument because Edmondson would not give Rail any money. Edmondson states that because of this argument, Rail bit him, and officers did observe bleeding from Edmond's forehead. Edmondson stated this is not the first violent incident that has occurred between the two of them, and that Rail suffers from substance abuse as well as other issues. While on the scene, officers could smell a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage coming from the breath and body of Mr. Rail. Your Honor, we were able to speak with Mr. Edmondson this morning, and he stated that he has filed 3 TPOs against this defendant since they've been in a relationship. They are still together because Mr. Rail does not have any place to live. But the victim stated that he's contemplating filing another one and that he no longer wants any contact with him. I don't believe he is on the call, but at the appropriate time, we would like to sound for him in case he changed his mind. The state, Your Honor, is recommending a $5,000 surety bond, no further contact, 1 day of anger awareness, to stay away from this location, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Rail is 46 years old. He became 46 on January 12th. And Your Honor, he has no objection to stay away from that location, incident location. And also, he has no objection to no further contact with him at all. He just needs one-time law enforcement officers escorted visit so he can retrieve his personal belongings. Your Honor, he has no income at this point. He's qualified for public defender services because he applied for SSI, and his income was from rental property that he has in another house. But there's an argument between him and his partner, Mr. Donald, complaining witness. So because of that, because of the money issues, my client has no access to financial resources. So he would like to request for a signature on bond. The 2012, the battery charge was dismissed, and he also all the other cases are very remote. I mean, the last one that he received was 2014. It has nothing to do with the violence. He has a bachelor's degree for journalism. We would like to request for a signature on bond since he's been living here in Georgia for from 1997, Your Honor. If Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature bond, we would like to request for a maximum $500 good bond. Even that, he has no resource to pay for right now. Thank you.
Okay, if Mr. Edmondson is on the line, this is your opportunity to address the court. You do not have to address the court, of course, but if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to unmute yourself, to activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Donald Edmondson. Ms. Lewis, it does not appear that Mr. Edmondson is on the line. As such, it's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Donald Edmondson. Stay away from the Rugby Avenue address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Mr. Rail, no contact, no telephone contact, no internet contact, no social media contact, no contact whatsoever. If you do contact Mr. Edmondson, you'll be in violation of this bond and it can be revoked. Do you understand?
I do, Your Honor. Thank you so much for the opportunity and the chance.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Rail.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 3, Mr. Bush, Brian Bush.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bush. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. Mr. Bush, you've been charged in case 23 CR 000640E with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
56 between Michigan, Colorado, Texas, and Georgia. Last arrest was in August for shoplifting. May, obstruction, possession of drug-related objects. Let me give you this. He's on probation though. For entering auto with intent to commit theft or a felony out of DeKalb County. And he got open shoplifting, possession of drug-related objects, and obstruction. You want me to keep going?
Any more?
You got a lot of theft now.
A lot of theft?
Yes. 2015 shoplifting conviction. 2016 shoplifting, it just says accusation, so it was accused. Got some fade to appears. 2019, another shoplifting. 2019 with a trespass.
Okay, you're fine, Mr. Howard. Thank you. Mr. Rogers.
Yes, Your Honor. On January the 28th of 2023, officers was dispatched to Max's Lager Restaurant located at 320 West Peachtree Street, Northwest. They were met by the victim, Paula Mullins, first name Paula, common spelling, last name Mullins, Mullins. She informed officers that on the date in question, she observed video footage that showed Brian Bush entering her office at that location, taking her HP laptop computer. He left the building with the laptop computer wrapped in a shirt. The victim is familiar with Mr. Bush. She allows him and other homeless individuals to use the restroom at that location. On January the 30th, she called officers to the location to alert them that she recognized the person from the video was sitting outside. He was wearing the same clothes that he was seen on the video taking the laptop. And the officers came and arrested him. He did not have the laptop on his person. The state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, a stay away order from their restaurant, and no further contact with Paula Mullins.
Is this your case, Mr. Judd?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, you can proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Zachary Judd with the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Brian Bush. Your Honor, Mr. Bush is 34 years old. He is currently homeless. He does not have a job. He has no financial means to make any sort of surety or good bond, let alone a cash bond. At this point, Your Honor, we have nothing to say about the charges at hand other than that he is exercising his right to be presumed innocent till proven guilty. As to the prior charges of similar acts, due to Mr. Bush's homelessness, most of these acts are cases of survival. Your Honor, crimes that are common among homeless in order to survive, such as stealing food to eat or things of those nature. Your Honor, as to the FTAs, Mr. Bush was aware of those, and he claimed that it's hard to get notice of your court dates when one is homeless. I have, however, Your Honor, put him in contact with, I believe it's First Presbyterian or maybe First Baptist, Your Honor, but it is a place that will allow him to receive mail. I've spoken to him about this, so he shouldn't have any issue receiving notice at this point. Due to Mr. Bush's inability to make any sort of monetary bond, we are asking for a signature bond.
In addition to what you've done, Mr. Judd, I want him to have a social worker visit in regards to placement and some help for him. At this point in time, it's going to be a $500 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Mullins. Stay away from the West Peachtree Street address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. If you will make note, Mr. Judd, he'll be on my SAP calendar if he doesn't get out on February 14th. I would like the social worker to report to me at that time. Good luck to you, Mr. Bush.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, what was that date again?
It's going to be September 14th. It's the SAP calendar that is.
Your Honor, that's February the 14th. Not
Oh, I'm
September.
sorry. What did I say, Ms. Bridgewater?
September.
I apologize. My mind is elsewhere, apparently. February 14th in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Who do we have next?
Hey, hold on, Bush. Next, we have position 4 and position 5.
4 and 5. Okay. Ms. Bridgewater.
Yes, sir.
September 14th. That's my birthday. That's probably what I was thinking.
Okay.
That's probably what I was thinking of. All right. So this is Mr. Carter. Good afternoon, Mr. Carter. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, you've been charged in case 23 CR 000647Y with battery, family violence, and battery, and you've been charged in case 23 CR 000648Y with discharge of a firearm on or near a public highway or street. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
No.
Oh, yes, first arrest. I have. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Rogers.
Yes, Your Honor. On January the 25th of 2023, at the location of 3725 Princeton Lakes Parkway, Mr. Raphael Carter was involved in a verbal dispute with his sister, Kanya Ingram, first name Kanya, last name Ingram, Ingram. He did, in fact, the verbal argument led to a physical altercation. It was over the ownership of her phone. That led to Mr. Carter punching Miss Ingram in the back of the head and throwing her to the ground, leaving a laceration on her right arm. In addition to that, on the same date, he did punch Shatran Neighbors, first name Shattyyrn, last name Neighbors, common spelling. By hitting him in the face, he left a mark on his cheek. On January the 30th, officers was dispatched to Princeton Lakes Parkway Southwest. Upon arriving, they were flagged down by a Black female that stated her son was suffering from a mental episode and that he had shot his gun before leaving for another residence. Officers surveyed the area and they spotted a male matching the description walking down the road. It turned out to be Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter did admit that he did shoot his Glock 43X in the air, and he had the gun on his person, Your Honor. His mother, we did speak with his mother, Miss Latasha Perryman. She did state that both of the victims are his siblings. He was attempting to discipline his siblings, and it got out of control. She prefers him to have a mental health evaluation before he can return to her home. She stated that she will be on Zoom today. We'll sound for her at the appropriate time, Your Honor. The state is recommending a $20,000 surety bond for the discharge of the weapon charge and $1,500 each for the 2 battery charges, Your Honor. Stay away from the residence, no further contact, 1 day anger management, and a mental health evaluation. That's all from the state.
Mr. Judd?
Yes, Your Honor. Zachary Joe with the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Raphael Carter. Your Honor, Mr. Carter is 18 years old. Your Honor, I understand that legally he's an adult, but mentally I think most of us are still children at that age, and even until our mid-20s, if I'm being honest. Your Honor, he has lived in Georgia his entire life. All of his family is here in Georgia. He does live with his mother. That does make a stay away order nearly impossible unless he is not allowed to live with his mother anymore, in which case he would be homeless, Your Honor. So we would ask that instead of that, there be a no further violent contact order. Your Honor, he has no prior history at all. This is his first offense. And he's not currently working. He does have a pretty decent job lined up from once he's out, but as of right now, he has no money coming in, and he has no possible way of making any sort of good bond, surety bond, cash bond.
Okay, Mr. Judd, if there's an issue as to mental health, I want to do that in the breakout room. Is there an issue as to mental health?
Your Honor, I didn't pick up on any issues while I spoke with Mr. Carter. He seemed very coherent and with it.
I see Ms. Perryman on the line, and I also see Mr. Neighbors on the line. If you all would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to address. Good afternoon, Ms. Perryman. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. Is Mr. Carter, is that your son?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I heard that the solicitor tell me that that there might be an issue as to mental health. Is that the case?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Perryman. If there is, this is live on YouTube, so I don't want to discuss your son's issues in open court. Okay, I'm going to place us in a breakout room so that you can discuss that with me. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we can place Mr. Rogers, Mr. Judd, Ms. Perryman. I know that Mr. Howard's on the line also. And I don't know if there's a supervisor for the solicitor's office on the line or not.
I'm here, Judge.
Oh, Mr. Walker, I didn't see you. Good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, also
Okay.
be placed as well.
Okay, and Ms. So if you could place us into the breakout room, please, so that we can discuss, Mr. Carter. Oh, and Mr. Neighbors also, if he wants to come into the breakout room as well. Okay, courtroom 2, if you can unmute for me. Raphael, we've had an opportunity to have a discussion with your mom and stepdad and with the lawyers on this matter. As far as the battery, family violence and the battery go, it's going to be $1,000 signature bonds through pretrial per the judge, which makes it a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with anyone that's in your household of Princeton Lakes Parkway. You are within 30 days to enroll in Operation 21, which is a mentorship program, I'm told. You are also to follow up on getting a job with Sido Healthcare, which is a location that your mom has recommended. If you, in addition, you are to either go back to high school, or you are to enroll in a GED program to complete your high school education. While you're out on bond, you are to have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. The only caveat to that is that if you are working and it keeps you out past 9 p.m., you can stay on your job past 9 p.m., but only if you're working. No drugs, no alcohol or weapons while out on bond, which means that you're going to have to get rid of that Glock gun that you have. For position number 5, the discharge of a firearm, it's going to be a $10,000 signature bond through pretrial with the same conditions as the battery, family violence, and battery charge. All right, are you clear, Mr. Carter?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm giving you the opportunity to get on the right foot here. So I hope that you that you take the court up on that, and I hope that I don't see you back here. Because if you violate any of these conditions, then this bond is going to be revoked, and you're going to be back where you are right now. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Judge, check your check. Anybody co-signing for him?
So this is not going to be an issue that you're going to need to have an officer for, Mr. Howard. It's not in and of itself a mental health issue. And given that he's 18, do you need a co-signer for 18, Mr. Howard?
I mean, he's still in school?
No, he's not.
Okay.
All right, so who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 6, Mr. Davis, Antavius Davis.
Good afternoon, Mr. Davis. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. You have been charged in case 23 CR 0000641J with simple assault family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
29 total between Georgia and Tennessee. Last arrest was 2018, simple battery conviction out of DeKalb County. 2016, simple battery DV, failure to appear. They were dismissed in NOD 2014 probation violation, ag assault, false imprisonment, and burglary. 2014 failure to appear, another 2014 failure to appear. 2013 possession of cocaine with intent conviction. Pled NOLO to misdemeanor obstruction in 2013. 2012 probation, simple assault. And the 04 ag assault, false imprisonment, burglary conviction.
All right, thank you. Mr. Rogers?
Yes, Your Honor. The facts are on October the 26th of 2021, officers responded to 434 Ontario Avenue Southwest in reference to a dispute. Upon arrival, they spoke with Tanosha Davis, first name Tanosha, last name Davis, common spelling. She advised that her husband, who was Mr. Antavius Davis, assaulted her. She stated that Mr. Davis arrived to the location intoxicated, and a verbal dispute erupted. He began cursing and yelling. She advised that she walked outside because she had to go pick up her daughter from school. She was walking to the car. When she entered the car, Mr. Davis picked up a brick. He stated that he was going to bust her windows out, and he did slap her in the face. We are asking for a $3,000 surety bond, a stay away order, no further contact, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond.
1,500 per charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Judd?
Yes, Your Honor. Attorney Judd with the Public Defender's Office on behalf of Antavius Davis. Your Honor, Mr. Davis is, Your Honor, he has been in Georgia his entire life. All of his family is here in Georgia. Your Honor, it's our understanding that his wife is not wanting to press charges, or at least that is what Mr. Davis has told me. I believe he has been in communication while in the jail with his wife, leading me to the fact that, Your Honor, it is his wife. They do cohabitate, and so a stay away order from either the location or from her does mean that he would be homeless, Your Honor. We are maintaining his innocence in this case, and we ask that he be considered for a signature bond, as he is not currently working and has no way of making any sort of monetary bond.
Has anyone spoken to Ms. Tanosha Davis?
We reached out. We were not able to receive an answer from Ms. Davis.
Mr. Judd?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you spoken to Ms. Davis?
Your Honor, I was able to get her on the phone for a brief moment right as court was starting, so I wasn't able to completely go into details. I had asked her the simple question of, do you want to press charges? She said no, she doesn't, but that she had already called the police by the time she decided she didn't actually want to press charges. As to whether or not anything happened, we didn't get into the facts of anything, Your Honor.
What I need to know is whether Ms. Davis wants him back into the home, if she's afraid of him, if this has happened in the past, questions of that nature, so that I know whether, and I just can't take Mr. Davis's word for it. I have to, I generally would want to know how Ms. Davis feels about him coming back into the household. So those would be the type of questions that I would need for you to get from her if she's not going to be on the line here to tell me herself. With that being said, it's going to be a $500 good bond per charge, makes it for a total of $1,000 good bond. At this point in time, until we hear from Ms. Davis, no further contact and a stay away. He can go back to that on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. You can certainly, Mr. Judd, can seek a modification of this bond if Ms. Davis, if you're in contact with Ms. Davis. I would think that if your husband's in jail and you want him to be out of jail, that you would possibly want to appear on the Zoom call to let your wishes be known. But she's not here. As such, I don't know what her wishes are. Again, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, sir.
Understood. Thank you, Your Honor.
Once again, Your Honor, I didn't get that bond amount. We had a little issue here.
Okay, you're fine. It's a $500 good bond per charge, so $1,000 good bond.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Tommy Jones, position number 10.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jones. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is I'm doing fine, Mr. Jones. Good afternoon. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're doing by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Jones, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000645B with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, he got history out of Alabama, South Carolina, and Tennessee. He got a total of 114.
Okay.
Yeah,
Criminal trespass type of issues.
it's everything type of issue. That's a lot of arrests. Last arrest was 2021, probation for trespass, possession of cocaine, possession of drug-related objects. Got trespass in his history, theft.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rogers?
Yes, Your Honor. On January the 13th of 2023, at the location of Bedford Pines apartment, located at 617 Parkway Drive Northeast, Mr. Tommy Jones was issued a criminal trespass warning, which he signed. He was advised that the ban, if you will be in effect for 1 year until January the 13th of 2024. On January 30th of 2023, Mr. Jones was found inside that apartment building located at 617 Parkway Drive Northeast by security guards. They alerted police, and officers came and arrested Jones for trespassing. The state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond and a stay away from that address, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Judd? You're still on mute, Mr. Judd.
Sorry, Your Honor, the space bar wasn't
Okay.
working for some reason.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Your Honor, Mr. Jones, if I'm doing the math correctly, is about 74 years old, or will be 74 as of tomorrow, Your Honor. And he has lived in Georgia his entire life. Your Honor, he does know that he has somewhat of a history. It's my understanding that he has no violent history within those pages. He doesn't believe he's on any form of parole or probation. Your Honor, he does not have an issue with a stay away order from the location, and he has no bond contacts, Your Honor. He doesn't have anyone that I can call to help make some sort of bond. And with the jobs that he currently has as a maintenance worker at both Pizza Hut and Family Dollar, he claims to bring in about $100 a week. He doesn't have any sort of way to make a monetary bond today, Your Honor.
I take it that he has an issue with housing. Is that right, Mr. Judd?
Your Honor, when I spoke to him, he says that he does have a stable address. I don't want to give his address out over Zoom, but it is on the west side of Atlanta. I'm very familiar with that area. And he does maintain that he lives in a house on the west side of Atlanta.
Okay. And also, if he was born in 59, he is going to be 64, not 74. Okay.
Sorry, Your Honor.
You're fine. Again, Mr. Judd, I'm going to give him a $500 good bond at this point in time. If he doesn't make that, I'll see him back on the state all-purpose calendar on the 14th of next month. I want him to have a social worker visit to make sure that he has a stable living environment. He's not to return to the Bedford Drive apartments at 617 Parkway Drive, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'll see you back in a couple of weeks, Mr. Jones, if you don't make bond. Who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 12, Mr. Ronell Lyle.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lyle. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lau, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000646Y with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
His ninth arrest between Georgia and Michigan. 2016 theft by conversion, that was dismissed. 2017 financial transaction card theft. Identity theft fraud, he got first offender for that. 2015 shoplifting, it was dismissed. 2015 suspended license. Last arrest out of Michigan. It was in 2007 for dangerous drugs. That's it.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on February 18, 2021 at 3774 Clovis Court. Officers responded to a dispute call at this location and met with Roshonda Brown. Roshonda is spelled Roshawnda. Brown stated that she and her husband got into a physical dispute. It is to note that since then, Ms. Brown and Mr. Lau have been divorced. They got divorced in November. Brown stated that Lau was upset and yelling about how inconsiderate Ms. Brown was for not picking up their son because he had to work. Brown stated that as Lau was yelling, she closed her bedroom door when Lau pushed the door back open, knocking Brown into the bedroom wall. Brown responded by pushing him back and they began a shoving match. Your Honor, we were able to speak with Ms. Brown this morning. She stated that they've been divorced, like I stated, since November 2021, and they do not live together anymore, but they do share a 10-year-old child. She stated that they have not had any, or they have had contact since the incident and no other violence has occurred. She states that the defendant currently has full custody of their child and that since this incident, she has moved to Michigan. There's another open case with her right now. So there's some issues going on with their custody and paternity of the child. But on the facts of this case, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact, to stay away from this address, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1 day of anger awareness. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, it's gonna be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact with Ms. Brown, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Mr. Judd?
Your Honor, I don't believe I represented, is it Mr. Rail?
No, it's Mr. Lyle, position 12.
Lyle, excuse me, I misheard.
I'm giving him a signature bond, Mr. Judd.
We have no objection to that, Your Honor.
Okay, it's a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, no further violent contact with Ms. Brown, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, okay? Good luck to you, Mr. Lyle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position number 8, Mr. Sterling Green, position 8.
Good afternoon, Mr. Green. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Green, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0000643C with criminal trespass. Is there a history?
49 total. He was arrested in May for FTA, theft by receiving, and trespass. October 2020, felony theft by receiving. 2019, failure to appear for shoplifting. 2019, trespass. 2018, shoplifting conviction. Another 2018 shoplifting conviction. 2017, possession of drug-related objects. Failure to appear for shoplifting. Another failure to appear for shoplifting. Want me to keep going?
You're good. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Rogers?
Yes, Your Honor. On January the 30th of 2023, Mr. Sterling Green was found at 216 Peachtree Street. That's the Peachtree Mortar Station. He was found in a stairwell where he had no lawful purpose to be. The area had signs stating no trespassing on the door. He was arrested. The state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond and a stay away from that mortar station. And that's all, Your Honor.
All right, it's gonna be a $500 signature bond through the jail and stay away from the MARTA station on Peachtree Street. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Does that suit you, Mr. Judd?
Your Honor, if I may, there was an offer for a plea on Mr. Green, and he was wanting to accept that offer. And since it is our office's policy to not represent people when they're accepting offers at first appearances, I wouldn't be representing him as long as he is still going forward with that plea.
Okay, so in the future, Mr. Judd, if there are people that you're representing that might possibly want to take a plea, let's do that let's make the court aware of that at the top of the calendar so that we can start getting all that paperwork together. So that it does not delay the court at the end of the calendar. So just for your future knowledge on that, so that we don't hold the court personnel staff up and the jail personnel staff up. Now,
I
Mr.
apologize,
Green.
Your Honor, I understand.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I understand that you're new to this, so I'm not trying to chastise you. I'm just trying to make my policies known to you so that when we go forward, that we can do this in a quick and efficient manner. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Green, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present to represent you on this matter. I'm giving you a signature bond on this, Mr. Green. So if you want to get out and come back at a later time and fight it, you have that opportunity. Of course, you if you don't have anything holding you, you would get out today. If you want to enter into a plea on this, then that's certainly up to you, but you won't be represented by the public defender's office because they would need more time to research the case. Okay. So what do you want to do today, Mr. Green? Okay, all right, so you got the $500 signature bond through the jail. So we'll see you at your next court appearance, okay?
Yes.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Green.
You done. Come on, man.
Okay, so is that all except for the waivers?
That's it, Your Honor, except for the waivers.
What about position 13, Kenneth Pack?
13. Yep, that's a waiver.
That's a waiver also?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's one of the waivers, yep.
okay, thank you. All right, we appreciate it.
I'm gonna stay on for a minute. I need to hear some of the waivers bond them out.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so let's just start with the first waiver, which is, I think, position 7, Ms. Fluker. Is there a history for Ms. Fluker, Mr. Howard, position 7?
A 10th arrest. The last arrest was in 2004. But that's why I taken.
So it's been.
Before that was in the 90s.
All right. Mr. Rogers?
Yes, Your Honor, on January the 30th of 2023, officers were dispatched to 2786 Old Hatefield Road, Southwest, in relation to a dispute. The victim, Miss Mary France Waller, Mary common spelling, France common spelling, Waller, Waller, reported that her mother, Miss Marilyn Fluker, they were involved in a verbal dispute, and Miss Fluker went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife and held the knife behind her back in a threatening manner, while threatening Miss Waller. The incident was called on the victim's boyfriend's cell phone. We are asking for a $2,500 good bond, stay away order, and no further contact with Miss Waller. That's all, Your Honor.
Mr. Judd?
Yes, Your Honor. I was only able to speak with Ms. Fluker briefly due to what seems to be physical ailment. She had to get off the phone before I could do a full interview with her. But what I do have from her, Your Honor, is that she has been in Georgia her entire life. She's in fact a Grady baby. No similar priors of this kind, no felonies, no failure to appears that we're aware of, Your Honor. She states that she is 63, and Your Honor, her last arrest, as was told earlier, was 2004. Your Honor, she doesn't currently have a bond contact that I can get in contact with. She wouldn't have any way of making a good bond, any sort of monetary bond. She is currently on SSI, making around $900 a month, Your Honor. Furthermore, Your Honor, she does dispute the allegations in this case, that it was not any threatening towards her daughter, but that her daughter's boyfriend had previously stuck a gun in her face, and she felt safer having some sort of weapon on her should it happen again.
Okay, so would you address whose residence is the old Hateville Road address? Does she have a place to live? Do they live together?
That's Ms. Waller's, the victim's address. She was living with her daughter for approximately 5 days before this event occurred.
So the daughter's, you said the daughter's Waller, right?
Yes, yes.
And so whose address is Old Hateville Road?
Ms. Waller.
That's Miss Waller's address.
Yes, her
So
daughter.
Miss Fluker was living with Miss Waller.
Yes.
Okay, do you know whether or not Miss Fluker has someplace else to live, Mr. Judd? Because she's gonna have to.
Your Honor, when I had asked about her address, there's an address that shows up on Odyssey, and she had confirmed 1297 Bolton Road as an address. Not sure if she was able to understand me through the physical ailments that she was having at the time, but it's my understanding she does have a place to go.
Okay, so it's gonna be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Waller at this time. Stay away from the Old Hateville Road address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that she might have there, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. That deals with her. The next waiver I have is position 13, Mr. Kenneth Pack. Does Mr. Pack have a history, Mr. Howard?
Yes, they all have histories today. 15 total. I got a 2022 September trespass conviction. Before that, I got simple assault, criminal trespass, disorderly conduct conviction, 2021, shoplifting conviction, 2021, giving false name, obstruction, criminal trespass, arrest, 2021, 2020 terrorist threats, disorderly conduct. It just says transferred to state court. I didn't pull that case. 2020 criminal damage to property, 2nd degree. That was dismissed. And the 2020 trespass, simple battery arrest. I didn't pull that case either. 2019 trespass, another 2019 trespass.
Okay, you're good, Mr. Howard. Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 30th at 2424 Piedmont Road, which is the Lindbergh MARTA station. On the date in question, MARTA supervisor Denzel Haynes observed Mr. Pack smoking aboard the train and asked him to put out the cigarette, but Mr. Pack refused and then blew cigarette smoke in Haynes' face. MARTA officers were alerted and escorted him off the train. As the officers were escorting Pack up the escalator, Pack lifted his feet on top of the escalator and threw his body weight back, attempting to make both of the officers fall backwards. It is to note that Mr. Pack has a permanent ban from the MARTA stations. And for this reason, the state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond. That's $500 each count, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Of course, to stay away from this location, but to also abide by his existing ban for MARTA property. Nothing further.
I have 5 counts. Ms. Lewis, do you have 5 counts?
Yes, I'm sorry, I did my math wrong. So we will do 2,500. Hold on.
Right.
We're doing
2,500.
500 each count.
Right. 2,500. Right.
No, is that 4,500?
2,500.
2,500, right? 500 each count. My math is bad. 1 second.
Right, 500 times 5 is 2,500.
That's 2,500.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Fine, I know it's,
I'm a lawyer, not a mathematician.
all right. Ms. Kim,
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Pack is 31 years old. He does have, actually, he is residentially challenged at this point, and Your Honor, he has a one contact who is his mother. However, I was not able to contact his mother. He is currently single, unemployed. He generates no income, so I was going to make an arrangement with the social worker services so that way he can get some residential resources. And also, I was going to ask for a BHET to make sure that he needs any further evaluation. At this point, we would like to request for a signature on bond since he has no financial means to make any bond payment, or he does not have anybody who can actually help him to get out of the jail. So we would like to request for a signature on bond. Thank you.
okay, Ms. Kim, it's gonna be a $500 signature bond per charge, $2,500 signature bond through the jail, social worker visit for a BHET, stay away from the Lindbergh MARTA station, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. When you speak to him, Ms. Kim, please impress upon him that I'm giving him the opportunity to get out. But if he goes back to MARTA, I'm not going to give him the opportunity next time, okay?
Okay.
I don't want to keep him in jail over this, but if he keeps going back there and keeps allegedly disrespecting the MARTA personnel, then I'll have no choice but to keep him in the next time, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Let's see, the next waiver that we have, I believe, is position 18, Bobby Thornton.
Yes.
Does Mr. Thornton have a history, Mr. Howard?
Got 60 total. He's on probation, burglary first degree. 16 SC 140643. Last arrest was back in July on a parole violation. You want more?
60 total is what you're
Correct.
telling me, and are they mostly criminal trespass type charges?
No, he kind of violent.
Oh, okay.
He got ag assault conviction, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, entering auto, criminal damage to property.
Okay, Ms. Lewis.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on January 29th at 1977 MLK Junior Drive, which is a Texaco gas station. Officers responded to this location for a trespass call. Officers spoke with Mr. Thornton, who understands that he has a trespass order against him from this location, and he was asked to leave, but Thornton then refused. Officers at this time detained him, and upon searching him, found a crack pipe on his person. Your Honor, for these charges, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond. That's $500 for each count. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and to stay away from this location.
Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Thornton is 59 years old, and he's a single, and he's also residentially challenged. So we will ask for social worker services to have a visit for his housing resources. Your Honor, he has no income. He is indeed disabled, and he's not able to work. I was not able to get exactly how much he gets for his disability check, and yet he is qualified for public defender service because of his medical condition. We would like to request for a signature on bond since he's not going to be able to pay for any kind of bond at this point. And Your Honor, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to take the state's recommendation. $500 good bond for each count makes it a total of $1,000 good bond. He's to have a social worker visit to help him with housing, stay away from the Texaco gas station on MLK, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I'll see him back.
Judge, repeat that bond amount, please.
$500 good bond per charge.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Kim, if you'll make sure that the social worker visit is done by February 14th, and I'll
Yes.
see him back at the SAP calendar at that time.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I believe that completes the 2 o'clock calendar.
One more, Your Honor.
Oh, we have another one? Which one?
Ricky Williams, the last one. The position 20.
Oh, okay, you're right, position 21, yes. Does Mr. Williams have a history, Mr. Howard?
Got 44 total.
The criminal trespass type?
Well, he's on probation. You signed off on that back in November for MARTA. Last arrest was on the 18th of this month for trespass. Yeah.
Is this a MARTA issue, Ms. Lewis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
He was arrested in October on MARTA, September 2021, October. He got a lot.
So I put him on probation for a MARTA violation back in November, and here he is back in January with another MARTA issue. Okay, Ms. Lewis.
Yes, sir. This incident occurred on January 28th at the Oakland City MARTA station at 1400 Lee Street. Officers observed Williams near the tracks at that station. They were able to pull his information to see that he does have a permanent ban from all MARTA property, which was issued on October 20th, 2021. For this reason, the state is recommending a $1,000 surety bond to stay away from this location, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and to abide by his current MARTA ban. Nothing further.
Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Williams is 29 years old. He's single, he's residentially challenged, and we would like to request for signature on bond since after graduating from high school, he has not had any job, and he is financially challenged at this point. Of course, we will have a social worker services visit him, and I think he needs a signature on bond. Thank you.
You know, Ms. Kim, I can't give him a signature bond, given that he violated one of my orders, and he's on probation. I'll have to see what's going on with him at the SAP calendar. So $1,000 good bond, stay away from MARTA, no drugs, alcohol, weapons, and we'll see him back. And a social worker visit, Ms. Kim, also.
Yes.
We'll see him back at the SAP calendar in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
All right, I believe that's the completion of the 2 o'clock calendar. So Norris, we'll see you next time. Thank you, we appreciate it.
I see you tomorrow, Your Honor.
I don't think so.
That's right. That's right. Y'all take care.
All right, you too.
All right, sir.
Ms. Bridgewater, whenever you're
Yes,
ready.
sir. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is February the 14th. Not September, but February. Okay, position number 1 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 4 is reset further notice with a $2,000 total SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 5, reset further notice with a $10,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 total good bond. Position 7, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 8, reset further notice with a $500 SOB through the jail. Position 9, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 11, reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through the jail. Position 12, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 13 is reset further notice with a $2,500 total SOB through the jail. Position 14, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through the jail. Position 15 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 16 is reset further notice with a total $1,500 SOB through the jail. Position 17 reset further notice with a $2,000 total SOB through the jail. 18 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 19 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 20 reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. And position 21 SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Any
Number-
questions, comments, or otherwise?
What was number 9?
Number 9, give me just a second. I have it as a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Any others? Okay,
All right, y'all have a good rest of the afternoon. We'll see you next time.
okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. See you next time.